All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna check out its local search or city search, see if either of them got BSS. So we're out here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pin video, pin post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our, on the left side, well, we got our graph here, our FSIC graph in white. On the left side, we got our highest intent peeps. They're looking for boudoir photographers right now, or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent peeps, highest converting, closest to the money. This is the people we focus on reaching here when we make videos about BSS. Way over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, people not searching for boudoir right now. Most of them don't even have any idea what the heck boudoir even is. So talk about some stuff related to reaching those people on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we talk about BLCS, and currently over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So boudoir search sameness, that is BSS. So a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, extra bad, because that means we're on page 2 or deeper of Google. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of searches, approximately 80% of the market if we're page 2 or deeper. So, our business is on a fast track to death in that case. And 1 slot on page good, that ain't good either. Because if we got 1 slot, well, there's 10 organic slots there. If we got 1 slot, that means there's 10 other businesses, or 9 other businesses there, boudoir photographers. And everyone most likely has 1 link. And so, as a result, we look the same as everyone else. We don't stand out. We're not looking amazing. Our 1 slot same as everyone else. So what's a buyer going to do? Well, approximately 80% of the buyers, they're just going to click down, open every link page 1, never even go to page 2, but open every link page 1 and actually fill out every contact form, get a quote from everyone, compare, price shop, negotiate, get the most for the least, waste time, and there's going to be like 10% or less of our contact form fill outs are actually going to result in buyers. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which nearly everyone knows about, and also this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, market saturation, more peeps, become boudoir photographers. It seems like every week, it's kind of people naturally upgrade their gear, get new iPhones, get new camera gear, and peeps, throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're boudoir photographer now. They have their website saying they do boudoir photography. They post in the mom groups on Facebook more, saying they offer boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, then the false belief of page 1 equality. This has kind of been something boudoir photographers have accepted, where it's kind of like people auto believe that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, when it's not. That's not true at all. What is actually true is Google will give us as many page 1 slots as normal, or as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So kind of the old school thinking, default original thinking, boudoir photographers they got their website ranked, page 1 slot 8. So market saturation more, boudoir photographers come in, their website ranks above theirs. And as a result, they're pushed down to slot 2, page 2, slot 1. So they're sitting there like, man, I hope those people delete their websites and Google de-indexes them so Google can bring me back up onto page 1. But no, dude, that's sit and wait approach, and that's not how Google wants us. That's not how Google will reward us. Google will reward us by actually taking as many slots as we want. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So, disappearing because if you got 0 slots page 1, you're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, yeah, you're disappearing. If you've got only 1 slot page 1 Google, you look same as everyone else, you're still essentially invisible. So yeah, you're disappearing. In both these cases, being a bit disappearing boudoir photographer means it's kind of like a warning light, a flashing light, the canary in the coal mine that actually our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We have discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And the way it works, it's right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, making sure we show up there. And this is like the snow at the top of a mountain. Think of the Andes Mountains down in South America, the snow up there on the eastern side, the backside of those mountains. What actually happens is that, the snow is always melting. It's always snowing there and melting. So the water flows into small streams, small rivers, and eventually all that water collects into the Amazon River. That Amazon River, that's page one Google search. And that means everything starts, everything begins with, getting the snow up to the top of the mountain, and then everything melts from there. And so getting up snow up there, that's SQ methodology to get that snow all the way up there. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to compete and still grow in a market that's getting more and more saturated over time, and do it in a relatively quick time frame. On the other hand, the other option is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking people's jobs already. We don't have the time to wait 5 to 10 years to build a massive, large brand. But interestingly enough, my estimates actually, if one is using SQ methodology, my estimate is it can actually build a large, well-known brand at approximately 8x the speed as normal traditional methods, simply because we're on so many different surfaces, so much more volume, much higher frequency. And so an example here of SQ methodology, we are now going to go to Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, so let's say we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they boudoir photographer, shoot boudoir photography, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's competing for the hyper-competitive page one slots on Google with their website. And we're like, man, we ain't got a large, well-known brand. Literally, the only chance we got to compete is implementing S-cube methodology. So, let's say we take it all the way to the max, where we're, we take literally like the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city across all social search. And then let's say that all flows to Google page one search, and we're taking first 300 slots Google search as well. And it's 10 organic slots per page one on Google. So, we're taking out the first 30 pages. So whenever a boudoir buyer looks for a boudoir photographer in our city, a boudoir photo shoot, whatever, they actually, we're basically the only one they can find. So if we're basically the only one people can find, obviously our business is probably going to be the only one growing, and then the competing 999,999 other boudoir photographers, their business will probably be shrinking. And so this is kind of the extreme case of what SQ methodology can actually enable or give a chance to a boudoir photography business to achieve. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more slots page one Google search. We're also, for each new slot we're kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them visible. A lot of boudoir photographers like this one because they can actually choose how many of their competitors to kick off, basically based on their own effort. Put them on page two or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So put their competitor businesses on the path to becoming disappearing competitor boudoir photography businesses. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. It's because everyone else is probably going to have one. So, okay, our 3 is always going to dominate. Everyone else has got one each, one link each. And our, the super rare chance someone has 2 slots, well, our 3 slots dominates them as well. Finally, boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our, our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. That's fine. Thankfully, we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, on to my results here. I wanted to rank and dominate for this keyword BLCS boudoir. So I use S-cubed methodology to do it. Let's see the results. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I'm from 0 slots, 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. Gonna check out this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it's local search, city search, if we got BSS here. All right, so we're going to Pooler, Georgia, then Savannah, Georgia. All right, Pooler, Georgia. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local search. Check Savannah. Let's check Savannah. Boom, we got 1 Savannah. So we got 1 in our city search. All right, so local search, we got 1 out of 10. City search, we got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for both boudoir search sameness. And for both of them, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, then you're seeing this S-cubed methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page 1 on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page 1 equality, but now you're like, yes, S-cubed methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, S-cubed methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the initial benefits of it. More slots, page 1. The 2 initial benefits: more slots, page 1 on Google, kick in more competing with photographers off page 1, off to page 2, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the 2 prongs of market saturation. Getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear, and you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace, or people who are even those who are new to boudoir photography, going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page 1 Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page 1, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where that city is below sea level. And so once that happens, you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page 1 links on Google, the higher chance that the new boudoir photographers never even reach page 1, never even reach the links, on Google page 1. And so when so you're seeing that, and S-cubed methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase the You want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need those things in order to become #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ'd methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to, like, the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hubs, hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so the probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing SQ methodology actually increase the probability we get a list on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here. Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so I was like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here, that we get on these. Because I know I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. And so I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum of being shown in the increase the probability gets shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll be actually be able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically own, my plan currently is to only work with one boudoir photographer in each city. So you're seeing you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page one Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that I'm in front of your competitors. Actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well, then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you'd have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the #1 first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now. So my DMs are currently closed. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.